What's up, guys, and welcome to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. Today I am doing the top 10 Zetas of June 2018. Just to note that not many of them have changed, but I'm still going to go over them to keep reminding people that these are the ones they should still go after if they haven't gone after them yet. Remember also that these are not in any particular order, 1 through 10. It all depends on where you're at in the game, which characters you have, and which ones you want to focus on. First things first, all of the characters that I have the favorites on are the ones that we're going to go over. And we're going to start with Emperor Palpatine and his leadership ability, Emperor of the Galactic Empire. I'm only going to read the Zeta part of it, not the whole ability. Also, know that Emperor Palpatine's Zeta has sort of fallen out of favor because as Darth Traya is becoming unlocked more and more, she's also thrown into that leadership spot. Some people still use Palpatine, but I see Traya there a lot. And his leadership Zeta states that when a debuff on an enemy expires, Empire and Sith allies gain 5% turn meter. That's huge. Again, when they cleanse, Kenobis, Rexes, you guys understand that. Next, we're going to go to Grand Admiral Thrawn and his ability, Ebb and Flow. Now, this is great for raids. It's great for certain parts of arena. And really, though, it's a really great tank raid ability. And the Zeta ability states that you have plus 50% counter chance, plus 50% tenacity while any enemies are fractured, and whenever another Empire ally uses a special ability while Thrawn is active, if any enemies are fractured, fractured enemies lose 15% turn meter. Phase 3 of the tank raid, you can solo it with the IPD. Very great ability. And again, I have both of his Zetas max, so in my fleet arena, they can, I can get these guys can be as powerful as they can be. Next, we're going to go to R2-D2. He's been a mainstay for a while, and he's not used at the top of arena very much anymore, but these two abilities are still great for, early game players, probably the lower hundreds of arena and in raids as well. And that is Combat Analysis, which states that while R2-D2 is active, whenever a light side ally scores a critical hit, dispel all debuffs on them. I can see this still being very, very useful when light side becomes dominant again, especially with Grandmaster Yoda getting reworked. I think that you could throw him into any light side lineup, and with this working, I think it could be useful. And then his second ability, Number Crunch, states that at the start of battle, and when R2-D2 is revived, other droid, Galactic Republic, Rebel, and Resistance allies gain 10% of R2-D2's max protection, offense, max health, and potency until R2-D2 is defeated. Again, it states that Galactic Republic as well, which again, I'm looking forward to New Jedi and their Galactic Republic. So we'll see what happens there as well. He's a he's an awesome character. He's definitely in the top 10 characters overall as well. Next, Commander Luke Skywalker. And his one ability is still awesome in the game because he can be used in all kinds of lineups still. And he's a great raid character as well. And it's bind all things. One of his unique abilities. And it states that whenever Luke resists a detrimental effect, he recovers 5% protection. And whenever Luke inflicts a debuff, he gains 10% turn meter, and other allies gain half that amount. So basically, it's a mini leadership ability and a unique ability. And it's very, very cool. Next, we're looking at Jedi Training Rey. And many people say all three of hers are important. In my opinion, the most important is the Inspirational Presence leader. It's the leadership ability. And it states that when a resistance ally uses a special ability, all exposed enemies lose 5% turn meter, which can't be evaded or resisted. When a resistance ally uses a special ability, if they aren't debuffed, reduce their cooldowns by 1. Very, 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 very good for the Sith raid. Probably the best ability for the Sith raid there is. She's also used in some aspects of the arena. Still, she can compete at the top levels, but she falls on defense quite a bit. Very good ability. That's why she's in there. Next, we're going to go to Raid Han. His ability has been here for a while, ever since it's reworked, and let me tell you, it's still a great ability because it's usable in all formats and aspects of the game, and that's shoots first. And that states that there's plus 10% critical chance, and the first time each turn Han uses his basic attack, he attacks again, dealing 50% less damage. He gets plus 10% critical chance, and he's attacking twice. Not much you can say. He is a DPS damage dealer big time, and he's very, very fun to use. Next, we are going to look at BB-8. If you want to dominate in the Sith raid And with Jedi Training Ray in Arena, you have to have her leadership ability Zeta, and you have to have his roll with the punches unique Zeta. And it states that when BB-8 attacks out of turn, he calls a random resistance ally to assist. This is huge because most of the resistance allies you use, especially when you throw them into the raid, do decent damage, especially if it's Scavenger Ray. So you have Jedi Training Ray attacking, because most of the time what happens is Jedi Training Ray is going to use her ability where she calls an ally to assist. She'll call BB-8, he'll call another resistance ally, lots of damage. This is a must if you're going to run with that lineup. Next, we are going with General Veers. General Veers is so much fun to use. He's good in territory battles. He's specifically, especially good in certain parts of the Sith raid, and putting him along with his Imperial troopers, I can't really say enough about. And I can't wait to get the new trooper, the range trooper, and see how he works with the Imperial trooper lineup as well. And his Zeta ability, Aggressive Tactician. It states that you recover 10% protection whenever an enemy is defeated, plus 20% offense up chance, plus 20% offense up chance, and plus 60% turn meter gain chance. So, when an enemy is defeated, look at all the bonuses you get. It's basically like a dark side Zeta Finn, who we're going to go over here in a second. Great ability, definitely somebody you should think about doing. Next, Finn. Of course, Finn. And his, I actually don't have this Zeta, but trust me, it's one of the best. If you have Jedi Training Ray, I would suggest doing her first. But there are times that you can have Gear 8 Resistance characters, as long as you have Poe and Resistance Trooper, and you have this his Balanced Tactic Leadership ability Zeta. It says whenever a Resistance ally loses Foresight, they gain advantage for 2 turns, and whenever an enemy takes damage from Expose, reduce the cooldowns of all Resistance allies by 1 and grant them 35% turn meter. You run this with Poe and Resistance ally, there's times where the other team won't even get to go if you do it correctly. That's still why he's in the top 10 in the Zeta, and he's been there for a while. Now, we are going to go to the honorable mentions. And Enfys Nest, a character that just came out, I only have her at 4-star. And she actually can be viable at 4-star, but I don't have her Zeta yet, but her fighting instinct ability, unique, is pretty good. That's why it's in the honorable mention. And it states that when you add Taunt Ignore, which means she can ignore the taunt, she can add 2% health steal stacking when an enemy loses a buff or a debuff. So she's extremely hard to kill, even at 4-star. That's why she's in the honorable mention. Next, we are going to look at Darth Sion, Darth Nihilus, and Darth Traya. They're the Sith Triumvirate, and their 3 Zetas work especially well together. If you have the Sith Triumvirate in there, it's really hard to beat. We'll start with Darth Sion and his Lord of Pain ability. And it states, at the end of each turn, Sion inflicts pain for 3 turns on enemies who damaged him that turn. And remember, when he inflicts pain, if an enemy attacks him with pain, he gains taunt, which makes him so useful. Next, we are going to look at Darth Nihilus and his ability, Lord of Hunger, his unique ability. It states, his Zeta states, that at the start of each turn, Nihilus inflicts health down on start of each enemy turn, Nihilus inflicts health down on them for 2 turns. 1, are they not only easier to kill because of that, 2, it allows him to get people debuffed, so when he uses his Drain Force, they automatically increase their cooldowns and decrease his Annihilate ability. And Traya, who I don't have any shards yet, unfortunately, but her Zeta ability, Lord of Betrayal. And that states that at the start of each Sith ally's turn, Traya dispels all debuffs on them and deals damage equal to 5% of their max health for each debuff dispelled. That's a very, very great Zeta ability, as you can see. I mean, cleansing other Sith allies, it's unbelievable. And yes, those of you that say, why aren't you throwing Wampa in there? Why aren't you throwing Hermit Yoda in there? A lot of us do not have those characters, which is okay. And yes, their Zetas are very good. But to round off the honorable mention, I'm actually going with a character that has 2 Zetas that are very good, and that is Asajj Ventress. If it wasn't for the Sith raid, I probably wouldn't put her on here. But let me tell you, her Rampage is awesome to use in the tank raid especially, and that states that plus 75% turn meter gain chance, plus 5% offense, plus 5% critical chance when an ally or enemy is defeated. Asajj gains 5% max health until the end of the encounter. So remember, she gets to keep stacking these until at each time an enemy is defeated. She can end up doing massive, massive damage. And what she's more useful for in the Sith raid is her leadership ability is actually preferred over Mother Talzin. and her leadership ability states that Nightsister allies have plus 30% speed. I'm reading the whole thing here. Plus 30% offense and gain 50% turn meter when they fall below 100% health, and have a 50% chance to remove 20% turn meter when they damage an enemy. This turn meter removal can't be resisted. So they have a 50% chance to remove turn meter, which is incredible. And that's what the 25% turn meter reduction chance is added. That's part of the Zeta. And then when they, the Nightsisters gain 50% turn meter when they fall below 100% health. I mean, that's awesome. So that rounds off the top 10 plus the honorable mention Zetas for the month of July. Again, these are focusing on the game as a whole. Asajj Ventress' Zeta, you know, would not necessarily be used in Squad Arena, but it works well in a lot of the raids. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more and more to come. If you would like to check out my farming guide videos, which I've been posting lately, I'll put a link to one of them above. Please, please, please smash the subscribe button, like the video, share it if you can with friends, and make sure you press the little notification bell so you get alerted whenever a new video is uploaded. Peace out, guys, and may the Force be with you.